After Paul had finished his ministry in Asia, God led him to go to Jerusalem and then to Rome. He knew God had a plan for him there, even though he also knew that he would face many hardships and dangers. He sent Timothy and Erastus, two of his brothers in Christ, ahead of him to Macedonia, while he stayed a little longer in Ephesus. But around that time, there was a great uproar in the city because of the gospel of Jesus. A man named Demetrius made silver idols of Artemis. Artemis was the goddess of the Ephesians. Demetrius saw that his business was threatened by Paul's preaching. He gathered his fellow craftsmen and said to them, "My friends, you know that we make a good living by making idols of Artemis made of silver. But you also see and hear how this man Paul has convinced many people in Ephesus and throughout Asia to turn away from worshiping idols. He says that gods made by human hands are not gods at all. This is a danger to our livelihood. It is also an insult to the great goddess Artemis, whom all Asia and the world worship. Her temple will be despised, and her majesty will be diminished." When they heard this, they were filled with anger and shouted, "Great is Artemis of the Ephesians!" The whole city was thrown into confusion. They seized Gaius and Aristarchus, two of Paul's companions from Macedonia, and dragged them into the theater. Paul wanted to go in and speak to the crowd, but the disciples would not let him. Some of the officials of the province, who were friendly to Paul, also sent him a message urging him not to risk his life by entering the theater. The assembly was in chaos. Some were shouting one thing, while others were shouting something else. Most of the people did not even know why they were there. Some of the Jews pushed forward a man named Alexander, hoping that he would defend them. He motioned with his hand for silence, but when the crowd realized that he was a Jew, they all shouted in unison, "Great is Artemis of the Ephesians," for 2 hours. Finally, the city clerk managed to calm down the crowd and said, "Citizens of Ephesus, who does not know that our city is the guardian of the temple of the great Artemis and of her image that fell from heaven? These things are beyond dispute, so you should calm down and not act rashly. You have brought these men here, who have neither robbed temples nor blasphemed our goddess. If Demetrius and his fellow craftsmen have a complaint against anyone, there are courts and judges. Let them bring charges against each other there. But if you have any other matters to settle, they must be decided in a lawful assembly. As it is, we are in danger of being charged with rioting because of what happened today. There is no reason for this riot, and we will not be able to explain that there was a good reason for it." After saying this, he dismissed the assembly.